Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more home defense testing, and today we've got a very interesting combination out here that I've seen several of you guys request to see over the last couple months. So when I found some on the shelf, I had to pick them up so we could bring them out and try them and see what they could do. I've definitely got some decent hopes for them, at least to be able to hold their pattern better than some other loadings out there, but we'll see what happens. Before the shells we're going to run today, I brought out some of these, the Remington Ultimate Defense buckshot loads, but these ones are the 410 3-inch 5 pellet load of triple-aught buck, moving about 1125 feet per second. We've tested several different 410 buckshot loads for home defense scenarios, and some of them are really nice and other ones drop off very quickly in pattern performance. But you can see they've got shotguns plastered all over this, and it does claim here on the side that it maximizes your shotgun performance. So in theory, these should be more shotgun oriented than a handgun load, like for a judge revolver or something like that. So hopefully these can hold together and give us a really nice pattern. But you can also see on the side there, they're not buffered, they're not plated or anything like that. And it's unclear if they have a wad or not. So we'll see how they perform. Before the shotgun we're going to run them through, I brought out my Mossberg 500 410. Technically, yes, this is the turkey model. However, the only thing that means is it's camouflage and has changeable chokes. Everything about the bore is the same as a typical 410 Mossberg 500 and stuff like that. Got a 24-inch barrel, and we're going to be running a cylinder bore choke, so no constriction at all. Might be a touch longer barrel and a little bit fancier of a shotgun than your home defense type of stuff, but with that cylinder choke we should get comparable patterns, so we'll see what this can do. So as for today's test, we're going to run it the same as we typically do with a setup like this. We're going to shoot 5 shots ranging from 7 to 25 yards, so 7, 10, 15, 20, and 25. That should give us a pretty good idea on what this combo is capable of, both in the same room and out at a little bit farther distance if for whatever reason you may be put in a situation where you might have to take that shot. The farther you get, the more rare that opportunity gets, so you may have to decide on the spot whether you should take that shot or not. However, we should at least try it to see if we have significant pattern drop off past 10 yards or something of that nature. And of course, all of our shots will be through the chrono as well, so we can be getting our velocities. But let's get you guys a view of these targets. We'll start at 7, work our way to 25, and then we'll take a look and see how these Remington Ultimate Defense 410 buckshot loads actually were able to perform. Alright, so let's take a quick look through our chrono numbers. Boss claim is 1125, and we were bouncing all around that, little above, little below. So we were definitely seeing their claim on average, I would say. But we had 1142, 1109, 1130, 1143, and 1138 for an average at 1132. So just above that 1125 claim, looking perfectly fine from our 24-inch barrel. And even if you had a little bit shorter of a barrel, you would probably still be 1050 to 1100, somewhere right in that range, so you're still plenty good enough there as well. But let's go check out our patterns and see how our home intruders fared. Alright, so now we're down here at our targets, and we'll start over here in the same room, or potentially down a hallway or across a living room or something of that nature. Our 7 and 10 yard intruders, both of them very effective. 7 yards, all 5 pellets, dead center for 3 1/4 inches of spread, and over at 10 yards, still kept all 5 pellets right there in a nice tight clump of 4 inches. So looking very nice here, and honestly that's about what I expected to see. Very typical performance, and I would hope that my buckshot shell would be good enough in the same room with somebody, and that's absolutely what we saw here. So no surprise, that would be very effective. And I do have to mention as well, because somebody's going to inevitably comment on it, on how the 410 is not effective at all for home defense or anything like that. And you got to remember how physics works. A triple-aught buck pellet at 1132 feet per second is the same as a triple-aught pellet at 1132 out of a 12 gauge. The energy doesn't change just because of what shell it's in. The velocity and the weight of the pellet stays the same either way. So would these be effective? Yes, absolutely. I know I wouldn't want to be standing in front of it, and I don't think you would either. So now moving over here to our 15-yard intruder. This starts to kind of tote the line because 15 yards might be somebody that's out in the front yard or out in the driveway or something like that. So you may have to contemplate whether you want to take that shot or any of our longer distances. However, if you needed to, this would still absolutely be effective, no doubt about it. All 5 pellets are still pretty centered up. We had a 9-inch spread from our farthest 2 across with a wad strike over there on the right as well. Well, not really a wad strike. It's more of just a base gas seal piece more than anything, but we'll look at it here in a second. So out to 15 yards, still keeping a nice pattern, not really throwing any flyers or anything like that. So yeah, that would be plenty effective. Now we'll move over to our 20-yard target, and to my surprise, we actually tightened the group down a little bit to 6.5 inches of spread with our little base seal piece strike over there on the left as well. So we actually gained about 3 inches of pattern out here at 20. It's probably more so just luck of the draw than anything else, but even if it was still 9, 10, 11 inches, something like that, you would still be plenty effective. So we know we're good at least to 20 yards or so. And now moving over to our final 25-yard distance. We still hit the intruder with all 5 pellets. However, we did have that one fly just a little bit over to the left. Our farthest 2 points across are straight vertical at 15 inches of spread with a little wad strike down there at the bottom. So still, 15 inches worth of spread is plenty good enough out to 25 yards on 2-legged creatures if you needed to, for whatever reason, take that shot. And if you're thinking about potentially hunting with this combination as well, I mean, it would be good enough to 25 to take a deer with it. If it could take a human out, then yeah, you could absolutely take a deer out with it too. So really, not bad overall. These were able to keep a nice condensed spread, at least out to about 20 yards or so. And I think once we get past 25 yards is where we're going to start really opening it up and getting some flyers and stuff like that in our pattern. But I mean, from 20 to 15 and down into the same room as the intruders would be, that would be very effective, no doubt about it. I wouldn't hesitate to use that combo if I needed a home defense setup or anything like that. Nice low recoil. It's not aggressively loud or anything like that, but you're still going to be hitting them with 5 pellets worth of triple-aught buck at good velocity. So overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Very solid performance. I do think the federal personal defense handgun loads did perform a touch better overall, but these would be a great option as well if you want to use a 410 loaded with buckshot for home defense scenario. Seems like they would get the job done perfectly okay for you. And here is that little base wad gas seal piece. Looks very much like what you see in like a Winchester 410 buckshot load. Kind of just cone shaped on each end there. Nothing fancy about it. The Remingtons are white. The Winchesters are blue color. But it doesn't really help anything as far as pattern goes necessarily, but it might help center that bottom buckshot pellet a little bit and seal your gases in. Other than that, nothing special to see. No plating on the pellets, no buffer in the shells, and no wad at all around the pellets. Just this guy sitting underneath of them. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that combination right there? I would say if you're somebody that wants to run a 410 for home defense loaded with buckshot, you might be an older person, might not like as much recoil, might prefer a little bit lighter weight, shorter, handier shotgun or something of that nature compared to what you can get in a 12 gauge, this would be a perfectly fine shell option for you. Clearly, out of a cylinder bore, you're at least good out to 25 yards if for whatever reason you may need to take a longer shot. If somebody was shooting at you from out in the front yard or something like that, but at least in the same room or down a hallway or whatever, it would be very effective. I still think the Federal 410 handgun personal defense loads are the best I've tested so far. If you want a super tight spread, those are probably going to be the answer for you. But if you can find these or wanted to run these Remingtons, you would be perfectly fine as well. So not at all a bad performance, and I wouldn't hesitate to use them if I wanted to run a 410 for home defense. I know I wouldn't want to be standing in front of them, that's for sure. So leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these 410 Remington Ultimate Defense loads? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is this a combo you would ever use for home defense? Or were you thinking about potentially hunting with that combo or anything like that? And what other shells might you want to see us test for home defense scenarios in general or defensive oriented loadings from the 410 as well? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.